Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Roy Coughlan, a serial entrepreneur who has founded over 20 companies across 5 countries. He's also a top-tier podcast coach and host with multiple show rankings in the top zero point 0.5 globally and the co-founder of platforms like Brain Gym fitness and va.world. From starting small as a kid entrepreneur to losing everything and rebuilding again, Roy's journey is a masterclass in resilience, reinvention, and playing the long game. Roy, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to the conversation.
All right. So yes, your your early start, right? And your 20s mindset. So, you started hustling from a very young age. What was your mindset in your 20s when it came to money, success, and building something for yourself?
It kind of built from when I was younger because I started doing like at 9 washing cars, delivering leaflets, even doing a bit of gardening. The gardening didn't like it. Too much work and the money was not great. So stopped that at 11. I did newspapers and I did that up to college. So I did that up to 20, around 2021. And I got good lessons from the boss of the newspaper round. He was kind of like, watch every penny makes the pound. So it was kind of something that yeah, kind of took heed, and I kind of looked after myself. I didn't have to get pocket money because I had my own money. I bought my own clothes. I kind of and looked after my mum. I remember buying her at 16, buying her an oven, a new oven, and always buying her kind of presents and stuff like that. At 14, with the money from the newspapers, I bought a lawnmower, and then I used to go around cutting grass and made money from that. At 18, I was into motorbikes. I had a lot of motorbikes. I was driving motorbikes for about 5 years, but for the first few, I kind of realized, hey, there's a market here. I buy a motorbike cheap, kind of repaint it or change the wiring or just make it better and resell it. So I was doing that for a while. And I studied construction economics and management. And then I thought I'd get a job. So I suppose when you're asking me my 20s, I mean, I went to university early. It was like 17, just turning on 18. So I'm October. So we start in September. And after getting the diploma, I thought I'd walk into a job. And I had a pile of Dear John letters, which is basically thanks but no thanks. And it was kind of a rude awakening. And that was in 93. So what I did is I did a FOSS course, which is a government organization course. It was construction site supervision. And there was a lot of people from the university there because I suppose they all had similar things. They thought they'd walk into a job. It's just the market was down at the time. But what happened is they were doing, we call them foxers. I don't know, is that a common term? But it was kind of like do jobs for people, but we weren't getting paid. The kind of teacher was getting paid. So there was a lot of crookedness, but it was a government organization. So that doesn't surprise me now. But at the time, I was like, I ain't doing that. So they had a computer and I asked them to get me an AutoCAD book. And I don't know, was it AutoCAD 12 at the time or 13? I think it was 12, and basically read it from it was a big tick book. I read it from the start to the end, understood it all, and then went to do work experience through that course with the council doing road design. And what was strange was I went into this with all architects and everything, and they hadn't a clue. Because imagine you have a skill set, and it's kind of like AI. Know you have a skill set that you're a brilliant technical drawer doing all the stuff, and then all of a sudden a computer system comes in that just overwrites that. Because I even remember in college that when we were doing drawings, because we were drawing houses and buildings and things like that, and you do it on the paper, and if you made a mistake, you got a razor blade and you were scratching it out. So they would have been familiar with that. That changed overnight. So now you had AutoCAD that just printed off the drawing. So if there was a change, you could cut and paste and you could replicate it. And they hadn't a clue. So I was coming in showing them all shortcuts and everything, but the money was terrible. So I think it was like £100, which was Irish money at the time, a week, which it wasn't enough to kind of sustain you. So I got a job with a mechanical contractor. They're now the biggest mechanical contractors in Ireland in a different city. And I worked my way up. I started off doing AutoCAD. I worked my way up to be a contracts manager. I was running multi-million pound jobs and then went to another company. So kind of when asking me in my 20s, so that was kind of, the time. And I was kind of never wasteful of money, always kind of saving. So I bought my first house when I was, I think, 26. And then I got another house. So I ended up having three houses in Ireland. And, I was saving. And I was still, like, I wasn't one of the people kind of partying all the time in college or going on holidays because a lot of people were doing that. Like, I couldn't afford that. It was just kind of just, grinding along, doing my newspapers and doing the bits and pieces. But when I started making good money, then I started going on different holidays and kind of made up for it. And I think I've been to about 40 countries now at this stage. So sometimes people think, oh, I'm missing out when they see some people going to, maybe Ibiza or going to different countries. But there's times the parents are just giving them money. And I think you're setting them up for failure when you do that. I think handing a child money and just thinking that's being parenting is a big mistake. What you should do is give your time to your child and explain to them and give them values. And that's the best thing that you can do. And that way, then, when they go through life, they can do what they want, they can be successful and travel where they want. But by buying them toys, sometimes you see people in America at 16 buying them a car and things like that. And I'm like, no, don't do that. You just kind of create a person that just puts their hand out that they're used to getting a handout. So if that never happens to parents or if their business starts goes into bankruptcy, they're in trouble because they've just set them up in life to be like that. So make sure, even if your parents are very rich, don't be kind of try to earn for yourself. And even if they are giving you money, try to do things around the house and try to give value and try to respect them that, hey, they're actually, allowing me to have an okay life while I go through college or whatever, that you should make sure that you're serving them and do the grass and, take out the rubbish and clean windows and things like that. And that way, I think it works. The respect works both ways.
Oh my, wow. Okay. So from your story, right, I know that you've always been a hustler, right? From childhood, you've always been hustling. And that's actually, like you said, it's a great way to train kids, right? You should know that money doesn't just come, it doesn't just fall from the sky. You need to work for money. So yeah, that's very important. And what I would like to ask you, right, is did you always know that you were going to go into entrepreneurship, or you just figured things out while growing?
Well, I mean, younger, I didn't even think about it. It just kind of, hey, this is something to do instead of just hanging around, but why not start making money? And then you can, do things that you enjoy. I mean, I was into computers at the time. We used to buy different computers, a Spectrum. People probably don't even know what they are now, or a Commodore 64 and Amiga, and we'd loads of games and we'd group of friends. So we were kind of putting money into things that we enjoyed. And I suppose when you're getting older and being entrepreneurial, like when I worked for somebody, I enjoyed it and I appreciated the money that I got. So sometimes people they complain about their job, and I think if it's feeding you, if it's putting a roof over your head, like complaining about it isn't really fair. So you either like you're not a tree, you can move. If you don't like the atmosphere there or something, but you shouldn't be complaining, oh, I hate them, because you're just putting out a bad vibe. I mean, if they're paying you to provide a service to whoever or create something and you should appreciate it. But with me, what the things that kind of annoyed me is at one stage I went on a holiday, and because I was running so many jobs, I booked a 2 week holiday. Everything was kind of they couldn't do what I was doing, so they got me back, and it annoyed me. It was like, yeah, after a week, I mean, I made them pay. They had to pay me a lot of money to come back, and but it was like I don't like that. And then I could see that if somebody wants to get a day off, it's like you're kind of requesting it. And when I was in my 20s, I think, I mean, what I had heard was a trapped nerve, sciatica, which is like a pain down your leg. I think, kind of looking back, as we kind of learn later on in life and we kind of put things together, I think it was probably stress because I was running jobs that were massive and I was young. And like what happened is, I was working 8 in the morning sometimes till 12 at night. That's not sustainable. This like just I was overdoing it, burning myself out. And eventually I was trying everything to get that resolved. I tried uh, faith healer, spiritual healer, physical healer,
Mm.
chiropractor, acupuncture, everything. And eventually then they told me get an epidural and we'll manipulate your legs because the nerve is trapping in the back and that's what's caused the pain. I mean, I just believed them, so I did that and didn't really work. And it was a strange sensation because I ended up getting pain down the other leg. And when I woke up, I went to get up and I was paralyzed from there because that's what the epidural. And I was like, "Ooh, this is scary," but eventually it kind of faded off. That didn't work, and then I had to get the operation. And I know I'm kind of going around. There's a meaning to this point. So the operation didn't work. And in the end, a book, just in case someone gets pains down their arm or their leg, it's a book called Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarner. You can even get the PDF free and there's videos on it. He's passed on now. But I cured myself because the operation didn't work either. But what annoyed me is I couldn't work because I was just laid up and everything. And they paid me like a 1 week or 2 week, and then they stopped paying me. And I mean,
Mm.
I had made them a lot of money. And like, yeah, when I went back, things got bad. But I was always remember that. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're only so good to a certain amount. And then another thing happened to me with both companies. They lied with, like, I had a salary, but then I also was working on a commission. So I was working on a percentage of above profits that were planned. So, like say if it was supposed to make 1 million and I made 1.5, I'd get a certain percentage of that, like 5% of that. And I should have asked for a lot more, but at the time I thought this is a good deal. And at one stage it was grand. I was working with one person and I ended up buying a car outright with it and everything was good. And that's why I was able to get house as well. But in the end, then when this guy left, I think he was pushed out. I was dealing with the next guy who was higher up, and they started changing the commission structure. Oh no, that wasn't supposed to be. Just say it. That wasn't supposed to be 1 million. That was supposed to be 1.5 million, and all lies. But just so they wouldn't have to give me. And it's really short-sightedness on a company's side when they do that. The other company done the same. And what's strange is I've talked to a lot of people. Loads of people experience that. So what I say to people when you're younger, if you negotiate a deal, because if you're good, don't just settle for $10 an hour, 20, whatever it is. Try to get a
Mm.
commission, an uplift if you're actually good, but get it in writing. Don't just do it on a handshake because it's like they feel you're taking out of their pocket
Mm.
instead of like I mean when I was doing a lot of real estate here, I never limited a bonus. I was happy to pay. So like that's why the kind of entrepreneur kicked into me again. It's like, yeah, you have to beg, hey, can I take a few days off? No, no, not now because someone else is taking them off. And it's like, you feel like a slave, it's like you're going,
Mm.
nah, this isn't right. So during the time I set up a company doing internet design. So that was one of the companies that I did. And
Mm.
then I moved to Poland. I had a lot of companies in Poland, a lot of real estate. And as you mentioned, 20, it's actually 21 now, and it's 5 countries. There's no 6 countries because I just recently opened one in the
Wow.
States. And I suppose this is maybe a kind of a lesson for people as well. If you are being entrepreneurial, you're going to get curveballs. Do not think it's a straight road or you just kind of keep getting better and better. You will get hit with a ball and you just fall down. And just don't cry. Don't be going, oh, poor me, a ball hit me. You just brush yourself and get on and go again. Like what happened to me now last week is I've doing dynamic ads because I've got all the podcasts and some European ruling, they just turned off the tap. So a nice bit of income that I have, they just turned it off and said, yeah, we can't do that because your company's based in Europe. And I was like, oh, okay. No point in crying. So the first thing I did is I contacted a few people I knew that had American companies, and I said, "Look, I just do a 1 month invoice on this." And they were kind of like, "Yeah." One said no, because there'd be so much kind of tax implications and everything, which wasn't true. They just didn't understand it. The other person says 99% we're going to do it, but my partner's got 25%. I just run it by him, and they said they're not really business orientated. They're not going to do it. And as this is going on, there's like a week kind of at this stage. And I just decided, all right,
Mm.
I'm going to do it. I done it myself. I went away and researched it. I'm really big into tax optimization. So that's why I have an Estonian company because there's no corporation tax there. So I opened in Wyoming and it's easy to do. It's cheap. And straight away I was able to revert the dynamic ads. So when you're doing things, same with platforms, I got censored heavily. I got kicked off YouTube twice, two, yeah. My Awakening podcast, my crypto, just the crypto they didn't even tell me. And then a year later that came back. And after about 5 years, without telling me, I just checked it. The Awakening one came back. I got kicked off Tumblr. I got shadow banned on Facebook, but there's no
Mm.
point in crying. It's like there's not, nobody's going to come and wipe the tears away from you anyway. So you just kind of, you just have to, put on your armor and go, okay. So what I did with, say, the YouTube one, I took a screenshot and I said, I'm on BitChute. Most people don't even know about BitChute, but that on Awakening has over 500,000 views. So
Mm.
it helped, and I jumped at the time from the top 1% to the top 0.5% by just because people kind of realized, hey, that's during lockdown period. People kind of said, hey, there's something going on here. This doesn't look right. And they knew, hey, if they're censoring him, he's saying something. And I got
Mm.
3 TikTok channels removed. Like I've had over 2 million views, and they don't even tell you, it's just gone. And you're like, hey, hello. I, I mean, same thing. You can cry.
Mm.
Don't, no point. Just, okay, go on to something else and just kind of pivot and look. And what I would say as well is if you can, try to have a few different revenue streams.
Mm.
Like when I was doing real estate, we were doing sales, but then people wanted um, a renovation. So yeah, we do that. So we renovated, making a profit on that. They wanted fit out, furniture and stuff like that. Yeah, we do that. Hey, what about renting, finding tenants and management? Yeah, we do that. And even insurance. So you can actually go to a company. So if you're providing insurance, you can say, hey, I'm going to provide customers for you, and they'll give you a percentage of the thing. And you can charge the customer as well for doing it. So it's about get them a good deal. I mean, if you're going to double dip, that's what I call it, double dip. Don't do it because I've seen people where they're charging people high amount and their customers are losing out. So I'll give you an example. There's one person and I just lost total respect from him. He was working on trading and he'd get the investors to give him money and he was trading all the time. And say an investor kind of put in, say, 100 grand, and it went down to maybe 30 grand, and he kind of blamed the market. But he was making money every time there was a trade, and he was
Mm.
making thousands. And I was like, that is so unethical. So just be aware, there's people do things like that. Don't be that person. Do the right thing because it comes back to you. But what I would say is if you can, whether you're 20 or whatever, just try to have a look at different streams because you might think, so for example, YouTube people think, oh, I'll go on YouTube, I'll make a lot of money. After I think 500,000 views. I think I got about 500 bucks. I'm not going to retire on that. People think, oh, you make money a lot, because they look at Mr. Beast and think, Mr. Beast is he's controlled. There's people that are making that happen for him. That doesn't happen to most people. But if
Mm.
you have it on, if you have affiliates on, there's a lot of different ways. And if you've got money coming in a few different places, when you get a curveball, at least you still can kind of pay your rent or your mortgage or whatever, or put food on your table. So try to have a few different, because especially now we're in crazy times. You know, the oil, I don't know about your country, but it's nearly here, it's gone up 50% or something like that. And heating homes in Ireland, I mean, I'm living in Poland, but I'm Irish. Every day they were saying like, oh, it's gone up 100, it's gone up 100. And like, if you're an old person on pension, you're not able to do that. So kind of make sure that you're planning for things. I suppose this is an important one as well. We've been conditioned, and I'm not sure in your country, but I know in all of the West, Ireland, Poland, America, UK, that okay, put money away for your pension and invest. It's tax free, and basically your money goes in, and then when you retire, you can go away and have a fantastic life. That's a horrible lie because you're basically a lot of people are putting off enjoying the moment now. I'm not saying planning for the future because you should, because let's hope we all live to 150. But a lot of the time, the age is going up in a lot of countries. It used to be kind of 60, then it's 65, then it's 68. Now it's kind of 70. And it's like, who knows what it'll do. And sometimes, like one of the spouses is passed on or they're not mobile. So they think, okay, when we get retired, we're going to buy a camper van, we're going to tour the world or
Mm.
tour the country and enjoy our life like that. And you've invested all your money in that. And you should be doing that now and enjoying holidays, enjoying time with your family, and still kind of save a bit. But like I'm 53. When you're 50 in Ireland, you can get your pension if you want. I never paid. I got paid by the company. They put full contribution, and then I had a bond as well. And you're allowed 25% tax free. They tax the rest at 50%. And it's like people think, oh, when I get my pension, you get your pay. They tax that. So just be careful. So, yeah. But if you understand things, like I started learning about sovereignty, common law, and natural law, I eventually got every penny back off him. And they were kind of thinking, hey, this guy's a nutter. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but I do. So what I would encourage every young person, entrepreneur, start looking at sovereignty, start looking at common law, natural law, because we are born free, yet we're controlled. I mean, the whole continent of Africa, like that frustrates me so much. Like for hundreds of years, Belgium, Holland, France, you're still paying money to France. It's like, what's going on? Like if all your assets are taken out of your country and you're pushed down and shut down and it's like it's all orchestrated. And it's like we have to realize we were born free, we have the power. There's a few corrupt like obviously there's corrupt officials in your country, just like Ireland is terrible, like most countries are terrible. And we have to realize the power that we have as an individual. And when you see something happening, nip it in the bud straight away. Don't think, Johnny's going to sort that out. You have to sort out every time you see something that's not right, call it out. Like even when you're dealing with companies like Trustpilot. I mean, if somebody does something great, go in and you can give them a 5 star. But every time a company does something bad, go in and start saying exactly what happened. You see them panicking. So you've got power there as well. Like Remitly, I was dealing with Remitly at one stage, and some company were supposed to do something, and I listened to all the reviews. They had Americans kind of saying stuff, and because I researched it, checked in their LinkedIn, their Facebook, and I was like, as it turned out, no, it was just get your money and move on. And I even tried to get onto the police there and tried to get the money back. So I was trying to create a case and I got onto Remitly and Remitly closed my account. And I said, it's them you're supposed to close. And they treated me as if I was, so I just went in and bashed it. And the same with other things like car hire and everything. And you see them, they'll start reaching out. Whereas most people, they just get frustrated. They'll tell a few people, but that's it. But if you go into Trustpilot and you see, like, say, a 1.3 star rating combined, don't touch that company because people are kind of putting their vote out there that can't be taken away. They can respond, but usually they don't because they are fraudulent companies. So use your power for things like that. If you're in the school and you see the teachers trying to push an agenda, call it out. If you see people like, I mean, I've had a lot of court cases with the construction because the whole lot kind of came tumbling down. So I witnessed a lot more than most people could do, and I could see like cops, detectives, just so fraudulent using their power. Judges, I screamed them at times. You know what they do? They put their head down and they nod because I didn't give them the power that they think they have over you. So you have to kind of realize when you see somebody that's doing something, call out and watch it. You find they can never look you in the eye. They always kind of do. So try to live your life as best as you can, especially when you're kind of in your 20s and, set yourself up, plan for the future, but also live in the moment because you don't know. I mean, who knows? We could be hit by a bus in the morning. As I say, I'd love to live to 150, 200, who knows? But enjoy every day, enjoy every moment. Make sure every day you're doing, like, don't be working 16 hours, 18 hours. If you enjoy reading, make sure you put a bit of time into reading every day. If you like painting, make sure you're doing some painting every week. Find something that brings you calmness and enjoyment. And, it's like what usually happens is with families, the just say it's the father's working. He's inside and work thinking of his family. He might have a picture of his family, and it's upsetting him that he's not spending time. He's at home and he's at work. His head is at work or he's on email and things like that. So you have to wherever you are, be there, be totally present. When you're in work, get your stuff done, be present. When you're home, spend time with your family. Like with my podcasting, I've got a lot of stuff going, but I have time for my son. I have it blocked out. People can't book stuff then. That's my time with my child. And it's like, just make sure that wherever you are, be there. And that way you'll enjoy more. And if you're a long time for yourself, not for the future, do things that, like listen to music, whatever it brings you happiness, going to the cinema. There's always things that you enjoy. Don't put it off. Just like reward yourself even. If you're a kind of entrepreneur and you get a sale, okay, what am I going to do? If you like a whiskey, get a nice bottle of whiskey for yourself, a nice bottle of wine or whatever you're into just make sure that you're having little rewards instead of thinking, when I get to this, I'll buy a house, or when I get to this, I'll buy a car. And it's like, that's always living for the future. Don't live for the future, live in the present.
Oh, I've learned so much. I've learned a lot already, and I am happy. I'm really happy about that, especially the fact that my perspective changed in some areas right now, especially when you spoke about, living for the future. It's something that is done here, predominantly here in, Nigeria. Most people are always planning towards the future, always planning towards the future. Nobody's thinking of now. Nobody's trying to enjoy now. I don't know if it's enjoy I will use, but nobody's trying to, just enjoy what you've built. Everybody's just trying to the future and all. And I think I'm gonna change my mindset. Not like I won't plan for the future, like you said, but you also need to start enjoying now. And yeah, that's one. And also, I think I what I learned also is when you're in your 20s, you should give room for different opportunities, right? Try out different things, try out multiple source of incomes, and yes, entrepreneur is not always as rosy as it seems. Good, like I said, curveball. But yeah, just keep on trying, don't back down, and consistency. So yeah, I've learned so much. Thank you so much for that one, actually.
No problem.
All right. So yeah, I want us to talk about, podcasting, right? Because we are both podcasters actually. So, for young people in their 20s, do you see podcasting as a real opportunity to build a career, network, or personal brand?
Definitely. And the thing is, a lot of people will say, oh, there's 4 million podcasts, it's saturated, I missed the boat. And the thing is, when I started doing research on it, there was over 4 million, but actively, as in released a podcast within the last month, there's less than 500,000. So it's not
Mm.
saturated. A lot of people, they'll do a show, 3 shows, they're gone. They'll do 10 shows, they're gone. And that's kind of seems to be the norm. A high percentage do that. They think they look at Joe Rogan and they think they're going to get, make 1 million quid in this. And then they realize, oh, I have to pay for Zoom, I have to pay for Calendly, I have to pay for this and that. And then you're
Exactly.
like, oh, this is going out one way. It's not coming in. And so, like, what I kind of, when I'm coaching people, whatever, I kind of set them up, put your mind to do this for 1 year, commit to a year. And when you commit to a year, then you kind of your mindset is there. All right, I'm going to do this for a year, and you can start planning to be making money at the start. So, for example, Podmatch, they're a fantastic company. Like they're paying people when like when guests are coming on, the guests have to pay to be on the show, and they give a percentage of it. And it might seem like nothing, but when you start getting a couple of $100 coming in, that pays for stuff, and then it starts being a positive. You can also have like affiliates. So when you kind of get either guests come on, some have affiliates or just reach out to some companies and even use like say the even the Podmatch or different ones, have them on your website, have them on your show notes, and when people click, then they become a continuous referral for you, and they're the better ones instead of a once off. Because there's loads of different structures for affiliate system. The ones I like the best are lifetime because if somebody is going to be a member for 3 years, you just brought them in once and you're getting paid a check every month from them. And that can add up so you can do that. The other thing is like if you're, say, going to be coaching or you've got a certain product, you can be talking about that on your show. Or you can, like, so for example, I mean, I tell people I might scan my QR code, they'll find the shows. I do virtual assistants. So I kind of do my bit telling people how to get that. So you can do that as well. You can, whatever you're doing or partner with somebody. So even if you're at a level where maybe you're still in college and you don't have that yet, but you could go to somebody, hey, you're doing this. What if I promote you? You be my official sponsor and work on a percentage or work on they pay a certain amount. But what I would say is if you're doing on a percentage of stuff, have a system that is fully traceable because have a different domain name or something because they'll, it's like the companies I mentioned earlier. When the money gets up, people they tend to think, why should I be giving you a percentage? They forget that you're the one feeding them. So make sure it's structured in a way that it's win-win and that it doesn't change and that can benefit you. And then you can, like, depending on the platform, and where you're located. You can do dynamic ads as well. So sometimes that can pay you good money and on with the numbers. I mean, that's why I kind of put all mine together now, and I'm doing it like that. That's an intentional thing that I built up over the years, that I have
Mm.
dynamic ad inserts. And now just recently I've created like a sponsorship that people can get, the companies that come in, and I can insert the ad. Either I record it or they do it. So every podcaster can do that.
Mm.
And, depending on the numbers, I mean, if you're small, you can go to the smaller companies, find out where your demographics are, and go, like if your demographics are mainly in a certain country, talk to people in that country and start off low. Don't just make it that it's irresistible from they go, oh, I've nothing to lose. And if it starts working from, they'll keep doing it. Then you can get somebody else in. Eventually, you start increasing your rates. And with the
Mm.
money, if you start investing in your show to get more, that's what I do. I put a lot behind increasing as well because, yeah, they can be organic and they can start building just itself. But it's better to just do different things. I mean, like say YouTube, I do a promotion in that sometimes, and that just gets more numbers and then more views, which in turn gets way more downloads. I mean, in February, I had like over 500,000 combined. And
Mm.
that then opens doors for bigger companies. And even if you're on just 100 a month, that's okay because you can just go to somebody and say, look, give me $10 and I'll do it. And it's $10 you didn't have. But then, when you get to 200, maybe it's $20 and maybe there's two companies coming in and just build it from there. But don't just, if you can, I mean, I know sometimes people need the money, but if you can, try to put a certain percentage back in, try to put at least 20% back in into your marketing to increase your show and just realize that it's feeding the wheel. And, the more you put in, the more comes back, and eventually it'll start rising. And then you can get to the stage where you can be getting, 10K plus monthly that will benefit, which in turn then can encourage you to either have another show or just do more episodes because like when I was doing the speaking, I remember I was doing one a week and I thought maybe I'll double my listeners if I, the numbers of downloads if I do two. And it went up by
Mm.
three. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. And also so and now I've got one that we're putting out one weekly, one of the newer ones, right? Daily, sorry. And we're just kind of seeing, okay, let's see how this one works. They're short, they're like 5 to 20 minutes. But we're just seeing, does this work better? And seeing now in the charts and things like that. So play with things, see what works. Look at different platforms like Rumble, BitChute and stuff. I mean, I tried about 10 or more. And there's so many video channels, and there's a Audacy or something like that. There's loads of things. PureTube, I don't know, they've even gone. But I was looking, and I was like, okay, this is averaging like two per episode. That doesn't justify it. Whereas the others are in the hundreds or something like that. Okay, and even if it is two, but it goes to three. So I kind
Mm.
of gamify my system. So I'd encourage everyone to do that as well as like you can have all the different channels you're on and then the episodes that are released there have your averages and then just see can you increase it. So I've like a color code for every single thing I'm doing. I try to get like a 1% increase uh weekly, which compounded is a lot more. It's like it's a good way of doing it. So if it's a 0.5%, I have a yellow color. If it's 1%, I have green. And when I get 2%, I get purple. And I try to get as many purples as I can. And by gamifying it, I'm looking and I'm going, what's happening here? This isn't really moving. There's no colors here. And you go, oh, I didn't really share this one. Because sometimes people, they spend a lot of time preparing for an interview. They have the interview. They might go, all right, post to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, gone, on to the next one. And unfortunately, you have to do a bit of marketing and be strategic with your shows. So, for example, say the Polish one, I'm in about, I think it's 48 Facebook groups. I'm in
Mm.
foreigners in Poland, Polish in the UK, Polish in Ireland, Polish in Chicago, and different groups like that. They're the groups where they are. So even if there's Polish people there, a lot of times they marry a local, or even there's two Polish and their kids are local. They can't really speak the language, so they want people. So they'll tell them, which in turn gets them engaged in it. And then when people give you a thumbs up on Facebook, you can just go in and click on the, say there's 5 hearts or thumbs up. You can click on that and just hit invite. Yeah, it takes a couple of
Mm.
seconds, but if you set just, 30 minutes, 10 to 30 minutes daily to kind of go through this thing, invite, invite, invite. Next time you're releasing an episode or shorts, they see it. There's more engagement, which in turn it shows it to more people. So it's like the compound effect with everything. And what I would say as well with with the social media, what happens is sometimes people, they try to be on 10 of them and they go, yeah, I don't get much engagement. It's not really. But it's kind of like they're trying to sell. Hey, look, listen to my show, listen to my show, listen to my show. So what you should do is pick one that you're getting the best momentum, what's working best, but engage. So every time I see somebody writing something on YouTube, I'll respond, even if it's just a heart or a thanks for listening or something like that. And the same with the other stuff. But also in a platform, if I see someone asking a question on I'm responding. I'm not saying, hey, buy my course or something. I'm actually answering them. And if they're interested, they can find me and things. So engage when you spend time on a platform, because I hear a lot of people saying Facebook doesn't work. It works very well for me on the Polish one. So if you put the time and study it, now I'm working on the YouTube and I'm figuring out different ways of doing that. And I'm strategizing, playing, okay, this works, this doesn't work, like promoting the videos I can get for like, say, $5, I can get about 40, 45 subscribers, which is, as far as I see, a good return on investment. But what I'm trying to do is see then, does that lead to the ads increasing? Because eventually, yeah, it'll take time. And if it starts increasing, eventually it'll come back. But if it doesn't, what's the point? And I kind of look at that as well. But when I figure out, say, the YouTube, then I'll go on to something like I did figure out TikTok. I understand that very well, but they don't like what I post, so they just kind of remove me. But you see, that's the thing as well. Like when you're on a few of them, and I mean, most people don't do controversial stuff. So my awakening one is talking about fraud, corruption, but with solutions, and that's why it gets censored a lot. But most people don't have that kind of thing. And what I would say is figure out something, just go in, watch videos and stuff. You can do, say, a Udemy course for like $10. People think they'll just figure it out themselves. Sometimes you pay, like, they might be charging 50, but they always do offers. So watch for the offer. And another thing I have as well is I have a coupon. So there's some coupon things you can put into your um toolbar that when you're buying something, it pops in and gives you all the codes. There's times I get 50% off that I wouldn't do, and it does it automatically. So do that with everything as well. But if you do, say, a course on how to do YouTube or how to do Facebook, or buy a book on it. I mean, I've bought books on Google, on Facebook, on everything, and marketing, loads of marketing books. When you start studying it, you can apply it. Don't just wing it or don't just think, this doesn't work. Because sometimes people, they look at someone that gets a load of views and they think I'll replicate that and I'll be okay. It's not how it works. You need to understand how the things work. Like, for example, say the Facebook, what people do is sometimes people use Opus Clips. They use a load of different software for the shorts. And what they were doing is they were saying, look at my video, and they put the clip. But like Facebook doesn't want you to leave Facebook to go to your podcast platform. LinkedIn doesn't want, X doesn't want, none of them want you to leave. Their whole business model is getting revenue from ads by keeping you there. So then people were saying, find a link in the comments. That worked for a while. That no longer works. So what we do with my company, for some clients, we put a QR code in it so people can scam. I don't do a QR code because I think most people consume it on a phone and you can't scan a QR code on your phone. So what I have is I have my name. My name is my website. And then people, if they see a short that goes, oh, that's interesting, they go in and they'll find my podcast. That way, I'm not kind of going again. And there's times we could get, it's not always. Sometimes you get two comments, three hearts, or sometimes nothing. But there's been times we got 70 by using that model. And it's like you just kind of gamify it and figure out, all right, this isn't working. Don't just keep doing the same thing. Track everything. When you track it, you go, this is outperformed. So sometimes I have a few YouTube channels. My Polish one is 1.6 million views or something like 13,500 subscribers. My other one, which what I did is when I got removed, I put all my other channels into that. So I just hit 200,000 views yesterday, and it's near 4,000 subscribers. But I'm constantly seeing, "Ooh, this outperformed that one." When I see a spike, I'm going in. Was it the keyword? Was it the thumbnail? Was it this? And I'm constantly kind of going, this actually helps. So, for example, I saw a few times, why is this outperforming? And I saw half of them were thumbs down. I've had loads of videos, 100% thumbs up. And the ones that unperform are like, that performed way better, had like 50% thumbs down. Because it could be something controversial, could be chemtrails, could be the jab, could be something like that. And the platforms like that because when people don't like it, they go, oh, this is engaging. So don't ever look at a negative as bad. Same on your reviews. I mean, there was times I was
Mm,
getting all 5 stars, and then I got a few negatives, and I was thinking, but I realized that it's actually good because one, it makes it look like it's genuine. Because if you've everything that's just all 5 stars, they think, ah, he bought that or that's not true. And when you see a bit of hate, 5% or something like that, it makes it more realistic. And most of the platforms reward you. And I suppose this is another important one as well for podcasters. What happens is there's always haters. So even my Polish podcast, sometimes I see some of the messages and I go, "Oh, these people are hurting that they're kind of don't let it in. It cannot hurt you unless you let it in. You could get 10 beautiful comments saying, love the show, love what you're sharing, love the guests, all this, love your style. And then somebody just decides they don't like you. They don't like you're from Africa. Whatever it is, they just start bashing you. Most people put their energy to that. They can't sleep. They're thinking about that person or they're engaging with them. Do never engage with a person like that. I call them Billy no mates. They don't have mates because they're just if you're hurting if you're doing stuff like that. Normal, nice people don't write comments like that. So
mm,
you do three things. You ignore it, you delete it, or you report it, but you do not put it in. And what I suggest to people is when you get love, which you do, you'll get loves on your reviews. You'll see either write it down, save it somewhere, have it in a place. And it does, you sometimes you go, "Oof," you will feel it when you see something that just go,
mm,
do what I said, ignore, delete, remove. But look, then go and look at all the love. And that brings you back. And it kind of goes, okay, I'm not going to give my energy to the 1%. I'll give it to the 99% or 90%, whatever it
mm.
is that loves me. And that way, because that's what they want. They want you to engage. So I've seen podcasters throw in the towel. They say, I'm not doing this no more because the abuse they get. I just laugh at it. I never let it. So make sure there's always going to be haters out there. Don't let them in. And if you don't let them in, it can't hurt you.
Oh my. Okay, so this conversation is so powerful, very, very powerful, especially for, people in their 20s that are trying to build something meaningful and, navigate setback. It's so powerful, especially for me, especially when you started talking about podcasting, right? I feel like now I can see that there are some things I'm not doing that I need to start doing, honestly. And yeah, I had a guest one time that also spoke about podcasting. I think is Adam Torres. Yes, I remember the name. He's
I've
also
had him on my show. Yeah, I know Adam. He's done something like 8,000 or something. Right. Yeah, he's done a load, 6,000, I think. Yeah, he's done a lot.
exactly. So he told me, right, that people go into podcasting because they think they'll make money immediately. Right? It's not true. Podcasting is a long-term game for real connection. Like the people who get to eventually constantly listen to your episodes are people who truly love hearing your voice. They really do love you because it takes a lot for someone to just go to Spotify and listen to you talk for over 40 minutes. I mean, when it comes to TikTok, it's very easy to hit the like button, the heart button, and just scroll. But Spotify, you actually listen to the person. So, yeah, it's a place for real connection, actually, real network, real connection. And it's a long term game, just like you said. And you said the same thing like, it's a long term game, and you need to be more strategic when it comes to podcasting. And yeah, thank you so much. This one will stick. I'm going to tell all my guests what you've said today. I'm going to tell them. So yeah, thank you so much. And I feel like my final question, right? Although I have a lot, but I'm looking at time, right?
Mhm.
So for my final question today, which is playing the long game, right? You've lived through multiple ups and downs. So what does success really look like now compared to what you thought it was in your 20s?
Very good question. And I think success from the 20s was building the assets, kind of even as I was even going into my 30s, I built 30 apartments, I done stuff and like I got totally wiped out. But my even before that, and my plan was, all right, let's build 200. There was no kind of, when you strategize about it and think about what do I really need, and
Mm,
like I've got friends of all different levels, even like top. consultant doctors and everything. And a lot of the time, even if they're making 500,000 plus a year, they're spending more.
Mm.
And the thing is, make sure that you're, I don't say frugal, but you just watch every penny, but then
Mm.
make plans to enjoy it. So what I would say is kind of success is no, just as I said earlier, just be in the moment. Reward yourself daily. You know, you hit 100 downloads, celebrate. Go out and buy yourself a cake, buy a coffee. You hit 1,000 downloads, do the same. You know,
Mm.
just go and meet your friend and just live in the moment always. And that's the success. Even if you do want a house or stuff like that, or like I'll give an example. I bought a car when my first new car. I had bought a car and the it was breaking down. So then I decided, all right, the mechanic said, hey, you should go and get a new car. I got a Punto, Fiat Punto. I ended up doing it on hire purchase. And it was something like 9,000 or nearly 9,000 euro. Well, I don't know, was it Irish money? It was probably Irish money at the time, yeah, because and I met somebody on the construction site that had the exact same car that was a few registration numbers, like 200 or something. So we basically got it within a day or two of each other. He bought his outright. Mine ended up costing me with the hire purchase something like 13.5 grand. He paid 7.5 grand. And I learned a big lesson that time. I was like, oh, I just wanted a new car because I thought, new car. From that moment, I only get a car when I save up the money and buy the car because you don't have to have a brand new car. And it's like,
Mm.
it costs a lot. And it's the same with, mortgages and stuff like that. Like that, sometimes they're going, oh, get a 40-year mortgage. Just look at the different things. I remember I did a 20 year when I was 26. I index linked it, which means I was paying just a little bit. So normally at the start it's all interest, but then you're paying off a little bit. But then if you can pay a bit more off, that's just coming off the top. And I reduced it down to 10 years. So just just watch everything. Just look at it. Look at your,
Mm.
if you've used Revolut or whatever, just look at your outgoings and going, is this serving me? Do I need this? And sometimes people, it's only 20 bucks, it's only 30 bucks. Every penny makes the pound, as I said earlier. So watch the things that go out and then just kind of strategize and go, okay, when I have such a thing, because either rent or you buy, but whatever you're doing, same with the car, don't think, oh, this is going to make a big difference to me because you're better off having a small, cheap car, especially now that with the fuel costs, isn't it better to have the money instead of like, what's the point if you're putting an extra 200
Mm.
euro a week into the fuel tank? That's not serving you. And just think of everything like that. Just strategize over everything and just be totally present. Take a walk, look at nature. When you're paying attention to nature, watching the birds, watch a bee land on the flower bending, you're totally present. You're not thinking of negative thoughts.
Mm.
Get rid of your phone, put your phone down, or if you can go for a walk without your phone, or just put on music because people think social media, we are being social. It's like it's all a lie. I mean, I know a lot of influencers. They're the most miserable people you can see. They make
Mm.
it look like their life is brilliant. And sometimes people want to replicate that. Trust me, you do not want to replicate it. Most of them, I've seen people doing the recording and they're all like, and as soon as the camera's off, they're like, don't be that
Mm.
person. Just be at one with nature and one with yourself and just touch in with yourself and kind of use your intuition. And by doing that, your journey from in your 20s to 150, 200, let's say, will
Mm.
be enjoyable. And, you're not going, I can't wait till I get to 70. You should never think like that. Like, I mean, I'm 53. I like, it's not a case of I'll stop when I'm 70. Do stuff. Anyone that I know when they hit kind of retirement age, a lot of the time, if their life was around their job, 3 months later and they're gone because they're passion always have a passion, always have something that you love doing, whether it's golf, whether it's fishing, going for a walk with your loved ones, whatever.
Mm.
But have more passions than just the work. And even if you're working till you're 80 or you're 90, if you love it, it's not work. Like what happens is people, especially people with corporations, they get depressed on a Sunday night. They can't even sleep. They're just thinking their whole day on Sunday is like, oh no, I have the week ahead of me, and they live for the weekend. Don't be living for the weekend. If you're in a job that you think like that, move. just change. Or even if you can't walk away from it because the salary, start building something in the evening. Don't be binge watching Netflix and things like that. Start learning a new skill set, building up something in the evening and at the weekends. So eventually you get to a certain level that you can say goodbye to the company. You'll never regret it. Like you never want to go, oh, I want to go back to working for somebody. Nobody ever says that. Everybody loves the freedom that comes. So just think of that. You are free, you're born free, and if you control your life, you'll stay free.
Mm. Right. Thank you so much, Roy. And yeah, by the way, is it Roy Corlan or Coughlan?
You actually said it in the introduction, and I was surprised because usually people say, "How do I say your name?" You didn't, and you got it right. It's a strange one because in Ireland, all over Ireland, they say Coughlan, except for where I live. I live in Cork, which is the south, and it's the city. They say Coughlan. So I've always said my name. So I call even the teachers you say Coughlan, and I'd ignore them, and they get angry, and I go, "My name is Coughlan." All like it would happen for a couple of years every day with some teachers,
Wow.
and I just stick to my guns. I'd be like, "Don't insult me, man." But I don't know why. Even the county of Cork, they say Coughlan. But for some reason, it's calling and the thing. But yeah, you pronounced it very well. Thank you very much.
Thank God I did. All right. So, yes, thank you so much. This has been amazing. It was packed with so much knowledge and insights, of which I am so, so grateful for. I feel like people pay for this, right? But I got it for free. I'm so happy.
Yeah, make a course and charge them. That's how you kind of monetize your podcast.
All right, I'll think about that one. All right, so yeah, it brings it to the final segment of my podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so your 20s are for.
Your 20s are for exploring. If you fail,
Hmm,
just get back up. It's okay.
okay, all right, and success is really.
Incremental. It's in stages. It's not the final destination.
Okay, all right. Failure means
Learning.
learning. Okay, consistency beats.
Consistency beats change. So, for example, people they try something they say is not working, but they don't try it long enough and they
Hmm,
change. Remember the compound effect. It starts,
yeah,
it can go in the negative, like you go to McDonald's every day, 3 days, I don't see it. And yeah, 30 days you start seeing things. And it's the exact same, the opposite way. When you do positive thing, for example, reading good books or studying videos of personal development, yeah, 3 days or something, you kind of go, but after a year of doing that, your mind is thinking differently. You get creative and you can start
yeah.
helping your business or whatever you're doing
All right, okay. And yes, confidence comes from.
within.
Hmm, okay. All right. Opportunities comes from.
The the journey that you've taken because I get opportunities every day. I get so much opportunities that people are just throwing stuff at me. They want me to get into business and everything, and they get it because of the hard work that I've done over the years. And when people see that you've got a skill set and stuff, there'll be doors opening for you that you're not expecting.
One. And yes, finally, growth requires
Could you repeat that, please?
growth requires.
Water.
Okay, that was kind of unexpected, but yeah, it sounds feasible actually. All right, so thank you so much, Roy. This has been amazing. And where can listeners get to, explore your work, podcast, and your entrepreneurial platforms?
So they'll find me on roycoughlan.com. That's ROYCOUGHLAN.com. Not sure if this is going out in video, but if they are, you scan the QR code. And if they're looking for virtual assistance, va.world. Thank you very much. And what I would like to say as well to the listeners, because you do provide good value, is if they go into Spotify, they'll see the three dots and they can give, you can't give a review, but you can rate it and give the 5 stars.
Mm.
When you go into Apple, scroll down, give a review and a rating, and it really helps. If it's on a video channel, do the same thing, thumbs up, comment. Like on Spotify now, you can even comment. And what it does is it helps other people hear it because the algorithms reward that. So please do that.
Yeah, all right, wow. Okay, so thank you so much. And to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this. And also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Thank you, Roy. I need to end this recording and ask my
Thank
thanks.